Now that you're all grown up and done competing,
Yes.
I want you to tell me a little bit about what you do now and if and how baton twirling has contributed to your current career.
I think you know what I do, but I'm currently touring with Cirque du Soleil's show Volta, and I do a twirling act. I use 1, 2, 3, and 4 batons, and it's been a dream come true, as cliche as it sounds. I auditioned a long time ago, and then it was sort of something that, just went to the side. I really didn't think about it. And I continued my career and continued competing. And then I was done competing and miraculously at the same time sort of got the call to join their newest show. And we've now been touring for over a year and a half, which is crazy. We're in San Francisco right now, about to premiere on this coming week, and I think it'll be our 530th show.
Wow.
So I've had the most incredible time twirling in this new venue. I came from the competition world, and that's all I knew. And I mean, I did performances with college and in other aspects, but like never in this whole world. And so it definitely was a shift in perspective and a shift in just my everything. But I've been so grateful to work alongside the most talented athletes from totally different disciplines of what I do. And so, I'm just like living the dream right now. Getting to perform every night.
That sounds like a literal dream.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
I had the opportunity to watch you perform in Volta when I was in this past February. The most entertaining show I think I've ever watched. There are so many different and diverse acts that it kept me personally engaged the entire time, which was incredible. And I absolutely loved getting to watch you on stage, and I think it's great that you get to expose our sport in a different realm. So a lot of people who would normally have no idea what baton twirling is go to watch Cirque du Soleil, and you get the opportunity of performing, and you're getting to do all the things you love at one time while exposing the sport to new people.
Yeah, this is definitely the best job I've ever had. And my goal is to create the opportunity so that more twirling can be part of other Cirque du Soleil shows. And so that's my focus, because I believe that if we can get, more twirlers performing in this type of venue all over the world, like you said, it exposes it to people that have never seen our sport, and I know that'll help grow. So
absolutely,
let's cross our fingers.
Our fingers and our toes. What's the most different thing about performing with Cirque and competing in our sport? So I'm sure they're very different, as I twirl baton competitively and I also dance, and they're two very different things. And I'm sure there's a bunch of differences between performing and competing for Cirque and baton.
Yeah, I would say the biggest difference between performing for Cirque du Soleil and competing is the perspective and knowing that you have to perform 10 shows a week and you're not going to be perfect, and it's okay to make mistakes. And I learned that very quickly, because when I got to Cirque and we started performing shows, I was making mistakes. I was super, super nervous, and I just wanted to impress everyone, and, I didn't want to let anyone down. And so I was making mistakes, and I would come off, I'd come off stage and be crying, and people would be like, it's totally fine. You have another show in a couple hours. Like, it's really no big deal. And I couldn't understand how they thought that way. because we come from the world of competition where it's like you've got one shot to do the performance that you want to do, and if not, like, all the work that you've spent throughout the year for several months, it feels wasteful. Whereas here, there's no way that we can do 530 shows without a mistake. And once I realized that, and once I saw that these other artists were making mistakes, I was like, okay, I guess it is okay. And I started warming up to the fact. And the more that I warmed up to the fact that it was okay to make mistakes, I actually started making less mistakes. And yeah, I think a big part of it was, seeing these incredible athletes and artists that are doing, way crazy, risky other acts, and they would make mistakes, like one of the acts, makes mistakes nightly, and it's part of the risk that they take. Right. And so, I realized, like, okay, if I drop my baton, once every 10 shows or once every 20 shows, like, it's totally fine. So that, I would say that's the biggest difference that I had to get comfortable with, and I feel like now I'm in a good groove of figuring that out.
Right. You did mention that you have 10 shows a week.
Yes.
Which I'm sure is a lot physically. How do you keep yourself from not getting tired, or, I don't know, when you have like 2 shows back to back, how do you keep up your stamina to make it through both shows full of energy?
Yeah, so typically our only day off is Mondays, and then we've got shows and training Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then typically we'll have 2 shows Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then sometimes we have 2 shows on Thursday as well. So you're right. So it's pretty heavy load, and we are tired by the end of a 10-show week. That's definitely for sure. But we train and condition our bodies to be able to handle that. So we've got physical therapists with the show, and they have set workouts for us. And so we're working out every day. We're able to have that stamina. And then they manage our workload throughout the shows. So, even though I'm obviously performing and twirling in both the shows, I have other parts of the shows too. And they rotate people so that you're able to have lighter workload shows and then, more tough, even though you're always doing, your main act. But, twirlers are used to, competitions, sometimes doing 13, routines a day. Competing depending on that competition. So when some of the other, performers are like, 2 shows, it's so hard. I'm like, oh my gosh, only 2 routines. Like, this is easy. So, yeah. So I don't find it too strenuous. I also have a low risk act where, it's a manipulation act. So I'm on my feet, whereas some of the other performers are acrobatic. It takes a big toll on their bodies. So, by the end of the week, they really need that rest for their bodies. But, I'm conditioned through twirling and competing that, 10 routines a week, like, we got this.
So, spending so much time with your Cirque family, do you have a favorite Cirque moment or memory?
So I'll say 2. I'll say one on stage and one off stage. So my favorite on stage moment was getting to perform in Miami, Florida, which is where I'm from. It's very rare that a show goes to a home city of where one of the artists is from. And so that was super rewarding to get to twirl in front of friends and family. But the most special one was when my nieces finally came to the show. So they were 4 and 6 years old, and they're the lights of my life. I adore them, and they both are twirlers. And they had been following my journey, obviously, for the whole year at that point that I had been away. And I FaceTimed them, and they saw me with their costume and makeup, but they never got to see the show. And so when I was in Miami, they finally came one night. And I was so nervous, the most nervous I have ever been performing with the show, because I just wanted to make them happy and impress them. And I was like looking forward to it for months leading up to the night that they came. And so I got to perform for them. I got to bring them backstage after the show. They got to meet all the performers and take pictures. And it was such a special moment to have my whole family and, most importantly, my nieces there. So for sure, on stage, hands down, best moment of Cirque so far. And then off stage, also happened to be in Miami. It was Christmas, and we didn't have a show on Christmas. And all of the artists, are away from their homes. And so I was able to invite a lot of our cast over to my parents' house, and they hosted Christmas dinner for a ton of the cast. I think there was like 25 of us. And so they decorated the backyard. We catered it, and my mom cooked all day, and it was decorated, and there was lights, and a huge group of us spent Christmas night together and just sharing stories and playing games and just being with each other. And it was such an experience that I don't think my parents ever thought that they would host a cast of Cirque du Soleil at their house for Christmas dinner. But it happened, and we were so grateful that everyone was able to be together and people had somewhere to go to celebrate the holiday. So that's a really special moment that I'll always cherish and remember that Christmas was one of the best.
That's amazing. I love the fact that you took your Cirque family and your family and combined them to make them one. It truly shows that your family doesn't have to be blood related to you. Your family can be your friends and the people who are closest to you. And I love the fact that you got to spend Christmas with your entire family, not just your blood family. It's an incredible moment. Now leaning away from Cirque, we're going to go back into kind of the competition world. If you could change one thing about the sport of baton twirling, what would you change?
Oh, there's so many things that I love about our sport. I guess it's probably, I imagine most people watching and most baton enthusiasts probably would all echo, but I would want to see our sport in the Olympics. I think our sport is so unique and so incredible and special. And if it had the opportunity to be on the world stage and for the international audience to see it, I really, really, truly believe that the world would fall in love with our sport, just like they love gymnastics and figure skating and, springboard diving, all those artistic sports. Ours is right up there with how like cool and interesting and, fan favorites those are. And I just think if we somehow got to that level, the world would see how crazy cool our sport is, and they would be enthralled and be sitting there watching, the finals of the world championships or national championships, and that we would have our sport would grow exponentially. And I know there's a lot of people out there working to catapult our sport to the next level. And, obviously my hope is that we continue working together for that goal. Because man, our sport is amazing, and gosh, I just want the whole world to see it and appreciate it and participate in it. And so, that's the only thing I would change because it's pretty rad. I like being a baton twirler.
It is pretty rad. I like that one. I just think there's so many people that have no idea what baton twirling has evolved to. I mean, back when baton twirling first started, you were marching in parades and twirling for your high school bands, and now we're competing on the world level, trying to achieve.
Hold on, you froze. You're freezing. Yeah, you can say, and now we're competing on the world level.
Okay. And now we're competing on the world level, which is crazy to think. We're competing for a gold medal nowadays, and so many people have no idea what baton twirling is. I think that if people just knew what we were doing and knew the love that we have for each other, the support in the family environment throughout everyone in the baton twirling community, I think the world would just fall in love with our sport, and it would just take us to new places, really.
Yeah, and I think what's special is there's a place for everyone in our sport. So whether you want to be going for that gold medal or you just want to perform for a school, or you want to do recitals, or, there's so many different different ways that you can be involved in the sport. And so, that's another way that if everyone knew how many different ways and levels you could be part of it, I think, it'd be really amazing. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Proud.
There's so many paths you can take throughout twirling. It's mind-blowing, really.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know if you could choose one person that you've ever competed against, watched twirled, seen videos of somebody twirling, anybody in the twirling world. If you could choose one person to do a pairs with, who would you choose?
Ooh, final question is a tricky one. Okay, so I'm going to have to go with just what first comes into my mind, even though I'm probably going to blush. But I would probably say I would love to do pairs, or would have loved to do pairs, with Sébastien Dubois from France. I would love the choreography to be Jean-Michel. And I would love to be this around the year of 2000, 1999, back in our glory days when he was still competing and I was young. But I always admired and loved watching him in pairs he had several pairs partners over the years. And I just thought they were very lucky girls to get to twirl with him. And I just think it'd be really fun to have a really creative routine, perform with someone of the opposite sex, because I've never done pairs with a male. I've only always done pairs with girls. And so that would, if I could do a time machine and transport my citizenship to being French, then that would be the guy that I'd want to do pairs with. So
Now.
Yeah. So now I'm blushing.
Seems like it would be a phenomenal routine. I am planning it now. I'm going to have you guys meet up and do a little pair session. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I think we're both still involved with the sport, but I don't know about him, but I'm not ready to compete anymore.
I'm sure the world would love to have you compete again.
Thank you.
For real, we miss you in the competing world, but it's fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a lovely opportunity to watch you perform in Volta all the time. So, yeah. Okay, I'm sad to say it, but that covers everything I wanted to ask you today. And I mean, I guess that means our interviewing time is coming to an end.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to chat with you. It's nice seeing you again. And it's a really fun opportunity.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I had the time of my life getting to talk with you since it's been so long that I've seen you in person. I mean, I guess not that long. I saw you in August, but it feels like forever ago. So It's been great getting to FaceTime and chat with you and catch up a little bit.
Well, thank you again for choosing me to chat with, and I can't wait to look forward to the rest of your videos that you come out with.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being the first ever Laney's Legend. So,
bye.